The night of March 19, 2024 began like any other for Officer Mark Daniels, a 17-year veteran of the Phoenix, Arizona Police Department. At 12:08 a.m., he was patrolling State Route 51, an expressway that cuts through the desert on the outskirts of the city, when he noticed a silver sedan driving strangely. The vehicle wasn't exactly speeding or weaving between lanes, but there was something unsettling about the way it was moving, too slow for the flow of traffic, remaining perfectly centered in the right lane, as if operated by someone on autopilot. Daniels turned on the emergency lights. The sedan took a few seconds to begin to slow down, and when it finally stopped on the shoulder, it did so smoothly it seemed impossible. No hard braking, no hesitation, just a perfect mechanical stop. The officer grabbed his body camera, the same one that would record the next 42 minutes of footage that would later become the subject of a federal investigation, and got out of the patrol car. The surrounding desert was shrouded in silence. Not even the sound of crickets or wind could be heard. Daniels approached the driver's side, flashlight in hand, illuminating the interior of the vehicle. That's when he saw the woman. She was sitting too upright, both hands on the steering wheel, staring straight ahead. Her skin had an odd tone in the flashlight, almost gray, and her eyes weren't blinking. Daniels knocked on the window. "Good evening, ma'am. Could you please roll down?" The window rolled down slowly, but the woman didn't move. She continued staring straight ahead, as if he weren't there. Daniels felt a chill down his spine, but maintained his professional demeanor. "Ma'am, do you know why I stopped you?" No response, not a movement, not a blink of an eye. "I'll need to see your driver's license and vehicle registration documents." That's when she finally moved, but not naturally. Her right arm rose stiffly, almost robotically, and reached for the glove compartment. Without turning her head, without looking at what she was doing, she opened the compartment and took out a worn leather wallet. She extended her arm toward Daniels, still without looking at him. He carefully took the wallet, noticing that her hand was icy, not just cold from the desert night, but as cold as if she had just stepped out of a freezer. Daniels took a few steps back and opened the wallet under the light of the flashlight. The driver's license was there, laminated, and seemingly legitimate. The name was Vanessa Torres, date of birth April 14th, 1989, address in Tempe, Arizona. But it was when he turned the document over that his blood ran cold. On the back, stamped in red letters, was the word deceased, with a date, March 19th, 2019, exactly 5 years before that night. Daniels looked at the document, then at the woman in the car, then back at the document. His training told him this was some kind of bureaucratic error, maybe a stolen identity, maybe fraud. But something deeper, something primal in his brain, was screaming that this wasn't normal. He went back to the driver's side window. "Ma'am, there's a problem with your identification. I'll need you to turn off the car and get out of the vehicle." The woman finally turned her head. The movement was slow, mechanical, like a rusty door opening. When her eyes met his, Daniels felt his legs weaken. Her eyes were empty, not in a metaphorical sense, but literally empty, without emotion, without life, without anything to indicate that there was a person inside. And then she smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. It was too wide, showing all her teeth, stretching her mouth in a way that seemed anatomically impossible. "I can't get out of the car, officer," she said, and her voice was strange, as if several people were speaking at the same time in slightly different tones. Daniels instinctively recoiled, his hand going to the radio on his shoulder. "Dispatch, this is Unit 428. Need backup on State Route 51, kilometer marker 34. Possible suspect under the influence of substances or..." He hesitated. What would he say? Possible dead woman driving a car. "Just send backup." The woman in the car turned her head back forward, as if nothing had happened. Her hands returned to their perfect position on the steering wheel, 2:10, and then she began to speak. "5 years today, Officer Daniels. 5 years since I died on this very road. Did you know this is the exact Kilometer marker 34. This is where the truck hit me. I was coming home from work. It was Tuesday. It was raining, which is rare in the desert, you know. The road was slippery. I didn't see the truck until it was too late. Daniels felt a shiver run down his spine. He hadn't said his name. He was sure of it. His ID was on his chest, but it was too dark for her to read from that distance. How do you know my name? I know a lot of things, officer. I know you have a daughter, Melissa. She's 12 years old. She plays soccer. You've never missed one of her games. I know your wife, Sarah, is worried about you. She always is. She tells you to look for another job, something more secure, but you can't imagine doing anything else. I know you've been afraid of the dark since you were a child, ever since your brother locked you in the basement. I know everything, Mark. Each word fell like lead. Daniels felt his breath quicken. Part of him wanted to run back too. The patrol car, start the engine and drive away, but his feet felt glued to the asphalt. Who are you? I already told you, Vanessa Torres. I died here 5 years ago, and every anniversary of my death I come back. I drive this same road in this same car, waiting for someone who can see me, someone who can hear me. You're the first in 5 years, Mark. The others just passed me by, but you saw. You stopped. Why? Daniels swallowed hard. Your car was driving strangely. It's my job. No, that's not why. You saw me because you can see. You always could, couldn't you, since you were a child? Things that others don't see, shadows that move on their own, voices in empty rooms. You learn to ignore them, to pretend they don't exist, but you know. You always knew. The radio crackled. The dispatcher's voice. Unit 428, backup is on its way. ETA, 5 minutes. Are you okay? Daniels brought the radio to his mouth, but before he could answer, the woman's voice cut through the air. Tell them you're okay, Mark. Tell them it was a mistake, because if they come, I'll have to leave, and then you'll never know. Will I never know what? Why did you actually stop? What really brought you here? This isn't just a routine traffic stop. Nothing is ever just a coincidence, officer. You were meant to meet me today, just like you were meant to be on Oak Street that night 3 months ago. Daniel's blood froze. Oak Street. 3 months ago. The domestic violence call that ended with a man dead. A shooting. Daniels had fired self-defense according to the inquest, but since then he hadn't been able to sleep properly. The images replayed every night. Like you. I know because Thomas knows. Thomas Williams. That was his name. 42 years old, a methamphetamine addict. He'd been beating his wife for 7 years. That night, when you walked through the door, he had a gun. He was going to shoot. You had no choice. But you still wonder, don't you? You still wonder if you could have done something differently. If you could have talked to him, calmed him down. You carry this like a stone in your chest. Daniel's hands were trembling. Please stop. Thomas wants you to know it wasn't your fault. He is where he is because of his own choices. You saved his wife's life that night, and he knows it now. On the other side, things become clear. The lies we tell ourselves disappear. The truth remains. And the truth is, you are a good man, Mark Daniels. You saved lives. You matter. Tears began to stream down the officer's face. He didn't know if he was scared, relieved, or going crazy. Maybe all at once. The radio crackled again. Unit 428, can you copy it? Backup is 2 minutes away. Daniels looked at the radio, then at the woman in the car. She was still smiling, but now there was something different about her face. Something almost compassionate. You have a choice, officer. You can wait for the backup to arrive. They'll find an empty car. I'll be gone. Or you can let me go now. Let me keep driving. Let me go back to where I belong. And you can continue your life, knowing that the universe works in ways you'll never fully understand, but that sometimes, just sometimes, it gives you exactly what you need at the moment you need it most. Daniel stood there, the desert wind finally beginning to blow, carrying fine sand against his legs. He thought of his daughter, his wife, the man he had killed. He thought of all the sleepless nights, all the doubts, all the weight. Finally, he took a step back. Go. The woman nodded slowly. "Thank you, Officer Daniels. Take care of your family. They need you. And stop carrying the weight of things you can't control. Life is too short. Believe me, I know." She turned the key in the ignition, though Daniels didn't remember her turning off the engine. The sedan began to move, gliding smoothly back onto the road. Daniels stood there, watching the taillights recede, growing smaller and smaller until they disappeared completely into the desert darkness. When the backup arrived 3 minutes later, they found Daniels standing on the shoulder, staring blankly. He told them it had been a mistake, that the driver had had a problem, but had already resolved it and moved on. They accepted the explanation, although they found it strange. Daniels was known for being meticulous. It wasn't like him to let someone go without thoroughly checking. In the following days, Daniels searched for the name Vanessa Torres. He found the obituary. She had died on March 19, 2019, in a car accident on State Route 51, kilometer marker 34. She was struck by a truck during a rare desert rainstorm. The truck driver had fled and was never found. But the strangest thing was what Daniels discovered when he requested the recording from his body camera that night. Technically, the camera had worked. The red light was on, indicating active recording. But when he watched the video, all he saw was himself standing beside an empty shoulder for 42 minutes, talking to himself. There was no car. There was no woman. Just him in the dark, talking to nothing. Daniels never told anyone about that night. Not completely. He filed the report away as a routine, uneventful stop. But something changed in him afterward. The sleepless nights lessened. The weight on his chest lightened. He began to sleep better, smile more at his daughter, and hug his wife more often. And every time he drove down State Route 51, especially late at night, he would glance at the kilometer marker 34. Sometimes, just for a second, he swore he saw a silver sedan on the shoulder with a woman at the wheel, looking ahead. But every time he blinked, there was nothing there. Some officers in the department noticed the change in Daniels. He seemed lighter, more present. When asked what had happened, he would just smile and say that he had learned to let go of the past, that he had learned that some things cannot be explained, only accepted. In March 2025, on the one-year anniversary of that encounter, Daniels drove to kilometer marker 34 on his day off. He brought flowers, white roses, and placed them on the roadside. There was no memorial plaque, no indication that something tragic had happened there. But Daniels knew, and he felt it was important to mark that place, that moment. As he placed the flowers, he whispered to the empty desert, "Thank you, Vanessa. Wherever you are, I hope you have found peace." The wind blew, gently carrying the grains of sand in lazy swirls. And for a moment, just a moment, Daniels felt a presence beside him, not threatening, not frightening, just present, as if someone were there, standing next to him, sharing that moment of silence. Then the feeling passed, and he was alone again. Daniels returned to his car and drove back home, where his family awaited him. That night, for the first time in months, he slept soundly, without nightmares, without guilt, without burden. Just peace. But the story doesn't end completely there. Because on March 19, 2026, another officer reported a strange stop on State Route 51, kilometer marker 34. A silver sedan driven by a woman who was unresponsive. When the officer asked for identification, she handed over a wallet with the name Vanessa Torres and the word "deceased" stamped on the back. But this time the officer panicked. He immediately called for backup, drew his weapon, and ordered the woman out of the car. When she didn't obey, he tried to force the door open. The moment his hand touched the handle, all the lights on the road went out. Every lamppost, every car light, every star in the sky. Total darkness. When the lights came back on, 3 seconds later, there was no car. There was no woman. Just the officer, alone on the shoulder of the road, trembling and shouting for help on the radio. He was suspended from service for 6 months for psychological evaluation. He insists to this day that he wasn't crazy, that he saw what he saw. But the records show the same thing they showed with Daniels, a body camera recording only a man standing alone in the dark, talking to nothing. The difference is that this officer has not found peace. He still has nightmares. He still sees that woman smiling at him in his dreams, that impossible smile, too wide, showing too many teeth. He still hears that voice, multiple voices speaking as one. Perhaps because he wasn't ready to see what Daniels saw. Perhaps because he didn't need the message she had to deliver. Or perhaps because sometimes the universe offers you exactly what you need at the moment you need it most, but only if you are willing to accept it. The Phoenix Police Department never opened an official investigation into Kilometer Marker 34. Officially, there's nothing there but asphalt and desert. But among the officers, especially those on the night shift, there's an unspoken understanding. Avoid that stretch of road on March 19th. Just drive, don't stop. Don't look too closely at the shoulders of the road. Because some mysteries shouldn't be solved, some questions shouldn't be asked, and some encounters can't be explained by police reports or body cameras. They happen on the border between what we know and what we cannot know, between the world of the living and whatever exists beyond. And sometimes, just sometimes, those borders touch. And when that happens, all you can do is choose. Resist or accept, fight or let go. Mark Daniels chose to let go, and that made all the difference.